From the Dallas Stars, head coach Rick Bowness. From the Colorado Avalanche, Jared Bednar. From the Vancouver Canucks, Travis Green. And from the Vegas Golden Knights, Peter DeBoer. We'll now take questions. A reminder to the media on Zoom, please use the raise your hand function if you have a question and direct your question to a specific coach. We'll start with Greg Wyshynski, ESPN.
Thanks a lot. To Peter, Ryan Reeves seems like he played a major role in getting this together with other teams visiting him this morning to talk it out. Just your thoughts on Ryan's role in all of this and your conversations with him in the last 24 hours.
Well, real proud of him. It hasn't just been the last 24 hours. We've had ongoing conversations going back to, the beginning when we got into the bubble and him and a group of other players took a knee during the anthem. And, he's a smart, intellectual guy that, has a lot of loyalty to both his race, but also to law enforcement and military. And he doesn't do anything without considering everything. And so, when we discussed what was going to go on here today, he had my full support. I don't think he slept a lot last night. I think it weighed heavily on him. And, but I also think he was very comfortable in his decision. And, I'm real proud of him and proud to stand behind him.
Farhan Lalji, TSN.
Guys, I know there have been some other coaches who have said that they've been just so completely preoccupied by hockey and preparation that they haven't necessarily given a lot of thought to what's been going on outside of their respective bubbles. Where do you guys stand? Maybe we'll start with you, Travis, and if anybody else wants to weigh in just on how aware you are that this has been happening and that this moment could be coming.
Well, I know personally I have been aware of what's been happening. As far as the other sports, the other leagues, I'm not playing last night. I saw that late last night. It's been disturbing to watch some of the videos that you've seen, everyone's seen. And I much like Pete said, I stand behind our players. You talk about racism, how it has to stop, injustice has to stop. There has to be change, and taking action obviously is a way to make change. And to see our players today try to make change makes you proud as a coach. And I knew this morning, or I figured this morning, that our players would be thinking about making change, and it weighed on their minds. I know personally I was thinking about it myself last night, what would happen this morning when I got to the rink. And again, I'm proud of our group.
I'll jump in on that. I was just going to say, we were, I heard the questions to the players and talking about, our teams playing last night. And, I was asked the question in our post-game press conference about, conversations. Did we have any conversations with our players prior to the game? And I know there was some discussions throughout our room, and they mentioned the time frame. I'm proud of them for, taking the time to get together, not just with the players here in our bubble, but also the bubble out east, and then getting together and coming up with an informed decision to stop today. And obviously our club and our coaching staff supports, the decision that they came up with. And I think when you get together as a group, again, not just the players in this bubble, but the bubble out east, it sends a stronger message.
I was well aware of what was going on last night coming to the game. I had a conversation with Jason Dickerson, our player rep, and I said, everything okay? And he said, yeah. I said, we're ready to play. Okay, we're ready to play. And as a coach, you support your players. I supported Jason and Tyler when they took a knee with the Vegas players when we played them in the round robin. And I support their decision today. We're all against the social injustice, the racial discrimination that's going on around the world. And if our players think this is the best way that they can support that, then they have our full support. We are proud of the stance that they have taken.
Go to Ryan Clark, The Athletic.
Jared, I mean, you coach a team that you have 3 ethnic minorities with Matt Niano, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and Nazem Kadri. What has it been like to watch all this? Think about those 3, then think about the conversations you guys have as a team, given that you are someone who you've played all over and you've played in a place like Charleston where you've kind of seen firsthand how race can shape a community.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have players that, you know, we've got some younger guys, we've got some older guys, we've got players from all over the world, and they come from different backgrounds, and it's you get everyone into one locker room, and they're just teammates first and brothers, and it's, you know, you see how people from all over the world can come together, and that's what I think sports does for I think our communities and our country can learn a little bit from sports and from teams and from what a locker room can look like, and how much people care about each other, even though they're from different backgrounds. And you know what I like about our team is like guys like Nazem and P. Bellemare. They've started conversations in our locker room. There's players, coaches. We're getting educated on different, you know, views and sharing ideas and you know, to try and bring change, and even if it's just education for our team and it sparks ideas and how we can get out in our communities and help, I think is positive.
Go to Patrick Johnston, Post Media.
Travis, the Vancouver fan base, I think, is noted for being one of the more diverse in the league. How much do you think the sort of need to reflect how the community feels, what the community looks like, played a role in the motivations of your players today?
I think it's society in general. You know, I know Vancouver with our fan base, like you said, it's very diverse. Much like Jared said, you go into a lot of locker rooms and there's a lot of different nationalities, and it is like a family. I know in the province of BC it feels that way. But when you start talking about racism, I think there's so many different things that went into the players' minds and their decisions, and for them to take action, you know, I'm sure our province is proud of them. But it's not just about BC. It's bigger than that, and it's about society in general.
Sean Shapiro, The Athletic.
Hey, Rick, what are some of the conversations you would encourage people outside of the bubble to have over the next 2 nights? Because obviously there's a lot of people who would have been watching hockey games and now they have this time and that they should use to reflect. What are some of the conversations you would kind of encourage them to have with either their families and things along those lines?
Well, I think that's a key point, is the conversations you have with your family. And as a father, Judy and I raised our children to respect everyone they met and respect them all the same, regardless of their race or their social background. That's how we raised our children, and I think it all starts with that, with your families and being parents and bringing to the forefront with your children. We raised our kids that regardless who you meet, where you meet them, and when in life you treat everyone the same. You treat people with respect, regardless of their race, regardless of their social background. So, and I think that's where it should start, with families. You have to start somewhere, clearly, and there's no better place than having family discussions and raising your children so that they are open to people being people, just being who they are, regardless what they do. Just who are they as people? So, I think it does start with family conversations.
Ben Goetz, Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Hi, Pete. I know you've known Evander Kane for a couple years, and he's someone who now is part of the Hockey Diversity Alliance and has been outspoken on these issues. Just what's your reaction as you've seen him kind of grab this platform on these issues?
Well, Evander's been way out in front of this. He's been discussing this for years, and you know, I think I know he's really proud of what's going on today with the NHL. I think that he knows, and everybody in this room earlier knows, that this one act isn't going to change everything, but hopefully it shines a little brighter light on, the issue of systemic racism and not just this country, but all over the world. And again, Evander, it's been something near and dear to his heart for a long time, and I think he's felt like some of his opinions have fallen on deaf ears for a while, and I think he would be really happy today with what's gone on.
Brendan Batchelor, Sportsnet.
Travis, obviously this is about all of the players and the league coming together as one in this moment, but Ryan Reeves talked about the importance of hearing from your players in this conversation, that they reached out to him. Just a thought on the context of some of your players choosing to reach out to an opponent to have an important conversation in spite of the fact that you're in the middle of a very heated playoff series.
Well, I think that's all part of the statement. There's sports, and then there's things that are bigger than sports. And I wasn't surprised at all this morning when I spoke to our players and they wanted to talk to Ryan. Felt like that was the right thing to do. And, again, these guys, they're teammates within the league. A lot of times you play on different teams. They all care about each other, but when they go on the ice, they still compete hard against each other. And yet they're family. And I felt like our group wanted to make sure that the Vegas team Ryan knew that they were behind him, and wanted to have a conversation. And again, I was behind them all the way and supported them 100% with whatever decision they made. And it's hard not to be proud of them.
Take a couple more for the coaches. Arif Dean, Mile High Sports.
Hey, Jared, this one's for you. This is obviously a very unique time in the hockey world. Not only are you guys playing hockey in August, but it's intense playoff hockey, it's second round playoff hockey. How much more powerful of a message, if at all, do you think that this makes in postponing games that matter this much, and doing so by sitting in solidarity with the coaches that you're battling against?
Well, I feel it should be more powerful, and for a number of reasons, really, when you look at it. It's a time of year. You have players in the NBA, they're in a bubble, we're in a bubble here. There's one out east within our league. And what that entails for a lot of guys is leaving their families at home. And for guys on our team, we got a lot of guys with young kids and wives at home, and that, are doing all the heavy lifting to raise their families. And they're here stuck in the bubble playing hockey in the second round of the playoffs. And when you're stepping away from the game for a couple days because you are making a statement, as a group, trying to end systemic racism, and you then have to spend extra time away from your loved ones, and they're without their support system, they take on some of that weight too. And so these are things that our players have all taken into consideration here today, and so it should be a more powerful message because of some of the sacrifices they're making.
David Shane, Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Hi for you, Pete, but I guess maybe anybody can jump in. This is obviously a player-driven movement. I'm curious maybe what you feel the coach's role in this conversation is in furthering it, whether it's clinics, speaking with junior coaches, or I guess whatever it might be.
Well, it's player-driven, but it's team-supported. I can speak for our team, and I really think I can speak for all the gentlemen up here, because we've had discussions about this. We're 100% behind this from the moment it was brought up with the players. So, yes, it's player-driven, but definitely team-supported. And you know what? I'm open to whatever role I can play in this. Absolutely. Open to ideas. I don't pretend to know, even where to start, but, I'm open to anything.
Thanks, guys.